Hi, everybody. I'm Robert Cooper, CEO and co-founder at Embue. And first of all, I want to thank the Shadow community. That's just been fantastic in so many ways for us since we joined the community some time ago. And I'm really interested in hearing the Q&A because it's always a really good kind of brain trust of folks that are in the Shadow circle. Literally, actually, the circle, I guess. So at Embue, we're imagining a world or creating a world where all existing and new apartment buildings are profitable, healthy, and have dramatically lower carbon footprint. And we'll see in a minute how those three things tie together and really generate increased revenue for multifamily owners and managers. So in the next 10 or 12 minutes, I want to convince you of four things. One of them is that at Embue, we've figured out how to both reduce those carbon emissions and create a lot of value in multi-housing. And for us, that's the secret. If we don't create value, we're not going to move the needle on carbon emissions because ultimately this stuff's got to get paid for. I want to convince you that we do things with Embue that no building management system and no smart apartment platform can do. I want to let you know that we've really built the platform and deployed it pretty significantly up to this point. So we've got an enterprise class product. We're very proud of the fact that we're in all kinds of multifamily, from affordable housing to luxury to senior housing. And then in a few slides, I want to tell you about the massive market to decarbonize multifamily buildings, and just want you to learn that we are ready to take advantage of that market and accelerate it. Let's step back a little bit and just think about what it's like to run a multifamily property. So your staff are in the building, but they don't know what's going on in the building. And the reason for that is these are people's homes, and you can't go into somebody's apartment without 48 hours notice and a good reason. So your staff are in that building, and they're kind of stressed out because they know there's bad stuff going on, and they know they're not going to find out about it until it's really bad. And it's kind of weird that they have no visibility or control over the biggest asset, which is the building. And that matters because of their stressed out staff. It matters because the residents are going to ultimately end up with an unhealthy or uncomfortable experience, and that will actually affect the reputation of your building as well. Finally, all those energy costs are going to pile up, and some of the other building problems that are going to happen as a result of this lack of visibility. High carbon footprint buildings are going to lose value over time. That's what all of the research and all the data says. And it's just true in general that a poorly run asset is going to lose value over time. And that's what's going to get owners' attention. So what do? So we put smart devices in the building and connect it to our cloud analytics and control platform. We control and monitor the whole building. We save energy in that building, we make it run better, and we connect it to the smart grid. We have whole building algorithms that really optimize the building as a system. And those are optimizing those three things we talked about: carbon and energy, comfort and health, and maintenance. And we do that on every piece of equipment in every apartment in the building. We do it in every new building or in the existing building. And we do it in those different market segments that I talked about. So just a little more specifically, we put smart thermostats, water leak detectors, temperature humidity sensors, noise sensors, window open close sensors, just a whole raft of things, both in the apartment, in common space, in the garage. Our customers have even used them during construction. Those are connected to a proprietary building-wide network that's actually rather special. We've worked pretty carefully on that to make it super easy to install and basically no maintenance to operate, zero maintenance. That's connected up to our algorithms running in the cloud. Those are also working with other cloud softwares like Smart Grid and Property Management. And then that whole system is presented to the resident and to the staff through two user interfaces that we have called Embue Resident and Embue Super. So we talked quite a bit there about the mechanics of what goes into the building. Let's talk about some of the value that comes out of that building as a result of that. So there's an abundant amount of data, we call it an avalanche of data, that comes out of these buildings that's unlocked when you put devices for the first time in all of the spaces I just talked about. So here's some of the things, some of these charts are maybe a little small, but we can find out that the building is chronically overheated. There's a dot on this chart for every single apartment in that building. We may be able to find out that the humidity has been high for more than 24 hours, which is pretty much a guarantee at that point you're going to get mold. We can find individual apartments that are not making set point. They're not keeping the resident cool or as warm as they would like. And then from every individual thermostat, there is so much data we can get that we can figure out how to reduce peak load. And by the way, you get paid for that. Reduce peak load in a way that does not impact the resident. These charts are nice and everything, but actually the whole point of our software is you don't have to look at these charts. Because just imagine the time dimension added to this. This is a huge amount of data. You've really got to have machine learning algorithms looking at this data and figuring out what to do with your building. So what that means is in the energy space, we're saving more than 25% on energy costs and carbon emissions. I talked about getting paid to shape your energy usage by the utility. That's pretty special. Staff are up to 30 times faster on some key tasks that normally would involve walking around the entire building. And there's things like mold and water leaks. Those are going to, preventing those is going to save you a lot on your insurance costs. Let's talk about the deep energy retrofit market for just a slide or two here. So the idea here is that the building stock we've got today, 2/3 of that is still going to be around in 2040. So it's got to be retrofitted, which means comprehensively reducing the energy consumption by electrifying the building, improving the insulation. You're basically creating a new building out of an existing one, kind of like changing the engines on a plane while you're flying it. It's risky. And investors are discovering they don't have much knowledge about a key element of that risk, which is the energy performance of the building and the indoor air quality of that building post-retrofit. So we help in two ways. Before the retrofit, in fact, immediately, before even contemplating the retrofit, put Embue into that building, get all the benefits we just already talked about. In addition to getting abundant data out of the building, which is helping the design team figure out the best way to do that retrofit project. And then afterwards, Embue is taking that grid, making that building grid connected and making sure that it meets the financial goals, the carbon reduction goals, and the indoor air quality and comfort and health goals. That is really de-risking the investment from the point of view of the folks that are financing all these energy retrofits. For us, that's a $6 billion annual revenue opportunity. So we're actually doing this. This is a building, 146 unit building. It's got a central heat pump system that they're putting in as part of the retrofit. It's overlaid on the existing gas heat, so they're going to have both there. And what we're going to do is optimize that choice of whether you're doing electrical gas heating. We also have window open close sensors in that building. Open the window, sets the thermostat back to save energy. It's much more complicated than you think to implement that. We have our signature flexible set point limits feature in that building, like in all our buildings, which allows you to save energy with set point limits without incurring backlash from the residents. And of course, we have analytics on the building performance. Just very quickly on our unit economics, you're going to spend about $1,000 per unit in one-time revenue, and you're going to pay about $75 a year in our recurring fees. What are you going to get for that? Your asset value on a per apartment basis for that $1,000 you spend is going to be $10,000. And that's because of the improvement in operating income that drives into the asset value through the mechanism of the cap rate. So spend $1,000, get $10,000 back again. In addition, you're getting a 5x return on those recurring service fees. So it's really a win-win situation. We have a lot of technology into what we've done. Just a few key points here. Because we do the whole building, our algorithms and our value is much more powerful than an individual point solution. Because we do control and not just reports, we're driving much greater value, and we're actually making it much more likely that the energy efficiency and energy and carbon reduction efforts will actually be successful. We've worked very hard on user interface that can be learned in minutes, not in months, which is kind of what you get with a typical building automation system. And inside of that, we have the cost-effective, scalable in-building architecture I referred to earlier. We've got a policy engine inside our software that makes it easy for us to rapidly customize, which is critical because every multifamily building can be a little bit different. Ultimately, we're deriving probably the largest data set and the deepest and most detailed data set on multifamily building operation in the industry. We've got a capital efficient business model using primarily third-party IoT suppliers. We sell through a channel. These are energy efficiency companies that have a trusted advisor relationship with their customers. And they in turn use Embue to get a continuous commissioning, continuous engagement model with their customers. So again, it's a win-win-win. And we just make the installer's life very, very easy with our installer app. We're in 4,100 apartments today. We're in 11 national and regional customers, zero churn. If you add up the portfolios of all those customers, we're approaching 1 million units. We're expanding out of the Northeast across the country, and we have a very substantial pipeline, both new business and repeat business with all of those customers. The only thing I'll say about the team is that we understand buildings, we understand B2B, and we know what success looks like because we've been successful in our previous startups. So that's the summary. You can see some of the logos there of some of the companies that are in Greystar, the largest apartment building operator on the planet. Wind companies, number 6, I think, in the country, and some really forward-looking companies in there as well. So very good revenue opportunity for Embue, fantastic carbon impact in the industry, great ROI for the owners. And we're really proud of the fact that we've built this business up today with founder funding and revenue. And we're really excited about the seed round that Shadow Ventures is leading our seed fundraise, which is going on right now. That was my 10 to 12 minutes, and I'm very interested in hearing questions.
Great, thank you, Robert. Yep. Anyone that has any questions, please go ahead and add them into the chat or into the Q&A section. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, what does the competition look like? That's a really good question. So there's really 2 classes of competition when people think about the Embue platform. The first thing I'd say is that, practically speaking, in the market, the biggest competition is actually people doing nothing. So people are just waking up to this opportunity, and there's very, very little technology, generally speaking, in multifamily buildings. What you would think of as competitors or substitutes fall into 2 categories. One of them is the traditional building controls vendors, like a Johnson Controls or Siemens or a Schneider Electric. And generally speaking, you don't see them in multifamily because their product is about 10 times more expensive on a per square foot basis than our product. And then the numbers just don't work in multifamily. You will occasionally see them just controlling the central equipment if there is some. And again, the products are quite hard to use if you don't use them on a daily basis. And the thing about multifamily stuff is they're jacks of all trade. One morning they're unplugging the toilet, the next day they're having to do something with the boiler. So that's really our view against how we compete against the large controls vendors. The other category you would look at would be smart apartment vendors. Now they're very focused on the apartment. They're very focused on luxury and Class A, and they have a product that is more complex to install and more appropriate for customers and residents that have bought into the whole concept of smart apartment. So you're not going to take a nerdy smart home hub and put it into senior housing or affordable housing. We don't have a hub in the apartment. We have the hub, one per floor or one per building in a secure location, so it can't be tampered with. All that's in the apartment is the thermostat. So I think, again, we do bump into smart apartment in that class A, but in pretty much the rest of our market, we just don't see them. So I think I've answered part of the question about how we compare to smart rent. So I think, smart rent in particular and a couple of the other leading vendors there, they're doing a fantastic job. But like I said, I think they're focused on more of the, market rate space than some of the segments that we're in.
Great. Okay. Any other, thank you, Robert. Any other final questions for Robert? Okay, well, thank you, Robert. Thank you for presenting. Anyone that does have any questions or think of anything, please let anyone on the Shadow team know, and we'll connect you with Robert to make sure that you guys can get anything addressed. So, thanks again, Robert. Appreciate you making the time today to present your pitch. So,
thank you so much. Really appreciate you and the whole Shadow team. Thanks very much.